I think the old term white glove came from back when, like, if you had a white glove on and you touched the product, like, there wouldn't be dust on the product. But really, when you look at what we do and what we've been doing for a number of years, it's how can we provide kit glove service to high value equipment or consequential products going into retailers, hospitals, data centers, really kind of all things business, and do it with care and do it the way that that specific location needs it done. So not just product from point A to point B, but product from, origin to destination and all the complicated things that go along with that.
Some folks would say that if you have a lift gate and an inside delivery, you're doing white glove. And then we have customers where we're doing 10 to 15 men labor that are parking a mile away from a job site and using special equipment to get it inside, tools that are needed to take things out of a crate. There's instructions that have to be followed to do a setup. Just to say white glove and expect that to encompass one service, it's kind of meaningless unless you sit down and understand really what are the challenges that you have and what are the expectations.
For us, there need to be certain characteristics to be a white glove delivery. Sometimes on time isn't a white glove on time, but what we really have to understand is 2 hours late a big deal? And in some cases, that can be thousands of dollars of impact and brand issues just for that. Really what somebody wants when it comes down to white glove is there's a lot of consequence associated to doing it right or wrong. And so they really want to know, have you done it? Are you good at it? And can you prove that to me?
When you go in and you ask questions that don't even necessarily seem to have to do with freight, I think that piques the client's interest. If you go ask someone, what are your pain points? A lot of times they don't know what to say to that, right? If you ask to go back, hey, let's talk about your sales cycle, let's talk about your production and planning. How do you decide what goes up? How are you getting your materials in? How do you recognize revenue? What happens when there's a delay? Those kind of questions open the clients up to telling what really happens when something goes wrong. We can speak, I think, very intelligently about most of the problems that we see with similar clients or similar services. If I'm talking to somebody that's moving, stainless steel restaurant equipment, I know that they're going to the fast food restaurants that have blackout times and they've got to meet installers, and if they miss the installation has to be rescheduled. If it's ATMs, and I can talk about Wells Fargo has an SLA penalty. If it's hospitals, and I say nobody knows where to go on the hospital campus. So when I can start to tell them about some of the problems they have, a lot of times they'll see that, oh, you know what you're talking about, right? If I ever see clients' eyes light up, it's when I talk about the problems I think they have and I get it right. Right? And they go, oh yeah, that's exactly what happens. Always we want to be as cost competitive as we can. So I think what our deal is it's the art of doing the most cost-effective solution without compromising service.
One thing that we talk a lot about with our customers is we don't hide behind metrics. So on-time percentage is great. You can say I'm 99.9%. We ask customers is what happens when it fails. When we can do that, they'll open up and they'll get to the real solution they're looking for. We're the guys at the final mile or the origin that represent some of these amazing organizations. We want to look deeper into the really formula of success and say, what value are we really bringing? And it's not an on-time delivery.
A partnership mentality has been one of the things that set us apart, right? And the difference for me is it's the more than shipping boxes part. It's the desire to truly understand what's important to the client and to try and solve a problem for that client, doing what we do best and knowing where we can play and where we can help with that. And I think the partnership mentality, everyone has to win. The solutions team is all about that. The dedicated account team is all about that. The willingness to create or invest in technology that supports our client-specific interest, that's a partnership mentality.
Is solution a unique offering? Yes. Do other companies out there in the market preach that they have a solutions group and stuff like that? Maybe. I think again it goes down to challenge that group, like, hey, so you have a high-tech vertical group, what does that really mean? Because so often in my experience is you put a title on a business card and all of a sudden you're an expert. Our experts are actually experts, qualified, been there, done that. What I've always loved about that solutions group in general is a vast majority of that group was born and raised in operations, from simple shipment execution level to quoting. So when they transition over to solutions, that expertise is there. I have been in the business and I'm excited to now be a solutions architect for the business.
Within what we do, there are best practices that we have established. And so It's not that we're rebuilding a brand new house every time we engage with a customer. It's that we're understanding their specific problems and we're taking the pieces of the best practices and putting those together. I would always say, and this happens probably more than it doesn't, trial shipments. If you have doubts, if you're not sure, we're always anxious and ready to do some trial shipments because we can talk about it all day long. We've got referenceable clients that will tell you how great we are. We've got great on-time percentages, but who won't show you a great on-time percentage? If you need proof, give us a couple of trial shipments. We'd love to turn things on overnight, but we think that that's not a good favor for the client. Let's be thoughtful. Let's sit down together and make sure we understand everything that's needed. We want to move fast, we want to be flexible, but we also want to do it right and be thoughtful.